Hello, welcome to us, Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and we've got another fantastic tier list. As you'll have seen from the thumbnail and the title, we've got a tier list for easily one of the worst armies to hit any tabletop game in all of the worlds. It's the Mega Gargants. But obviously, with that opinion out the way, I know a lot of people do love their Mega Gargants, and they love their Mega Gargant armies. And while I think those people should be kept away from glue, and also I'm pretty impressed they've been able to click on a YouTube video, I personally think that we should be a little bit more fair, and we should do a tier list for the Gargants. It's a big, important time in the world right now, and I think a lot of people have got a lot of things going on in their lives, and I want them to feel like, I'm giving them, you love Gargants. I want you to know Rob supports everyone in Age of Sigmar. I'm on your side, and I will always make content for everyone, even if I personally think that the people who created the Mega Gargant range should be hounded off the edge of the earth. So I'm here for you. I'm putting my biases to the side, and we are going to do a deep dive into the Mega Gargants, and we're going to do a tier list. So shout out to ageofindex.com. Okay, so they've made it so that I can also do tier lists on their website, which is great. And in addition to that, also it tells me all the information I need, like when we talk about King Brodd, which is great. So shout out to ageofindex.com. Appreciate them a lot. Although I don't think I know how to go back. Do I escape? Oh, perfect. Okay, so we're going to start like we always do with Mega Gargants, and we are interestingly going to start probably here with Kragnos. So Kragnos, a lot of people say he looks like Joe Rogan. Sounds like Joe Rogan as well, just like a dumb, just like knuckle-dragging baboon. And so we're going to talk about exactly his impact in the game, and his impact is pretty impressive. Kragnos has got 18 health with a 4-up save and a 5-up ward, which is very, very good, right? And he's got a control score of 15, which is like the major thing that Gargants do is they can stand on objectives really well. He is great in combat. If we take a moment to look at his profile, you can see here with a Dread Mace, he's got up to 11 damage against a 3-up save, which is pretty crazy. And even the Hooves and Rack and Runestar added the points up. So very effective output, pretty survivable, but it is pricey. Kragnos is a pricey fellow. Very, very pricey. But he has got the most important rule, which is Rampaging Destruction, where once per turn across the army in any charge phase, if this unit charges phase, you can pick one of the following effects. You roll a dice for each enemy unit within an inch of this one. On a 2+, you inflict an amount of mortal damage on the roll equal to the roll. In addition, you pick an enemy monster in combat this unit and roll 2d6. On a 7, this ability has no effect. So you're able to do just a ton of mortal wounds. A ton of mortal wounds against enemy monsters, which is just fantastic. That's not the rule that people love, but it's the rule that I love, because you charge in, you do a ton of mortal wounds to a monster. You might just auto-slay that monster, so 6x6, 36 mortal wounds, the mythological play, and then you get to swing with your incredible belly attack. So super worth it. But the real reason that we see these bad boys taken is because of the End of Empire's ability. In your charge phase, is down here. For the rest of the turn, add 1 to the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for friendly destruction units while they're wholly within 12 inches of this unit to a maximum of 3. So that means you're going to have a 3d6 charge on multiple units. And that's why Kragnos is just so effective and is going to go into the most effective section, because Kragnos brings all of, not only himself is good in what he is able to do, but definitely force multiplies other destruction armies, which is just so good, so effective, and so important. And so, yeah, he's just absolutely brilliant. Okay, so now we're going to look at the Gargants. We can start with the Beast Smasher Mega Gargant, because I think probably he is one of the more interesting of the Mega Gargants. So all of the Mega Gargants have pretty much the same profile, so I don't have to keep going over their survivability. But as I've said, the control score of 20 is crucial in Age of Sigmar. Holding those objectives is pretty key. Also really good at denying battle tactics like seize their land, as an example. It's arguable that one of the reasons that Mega Gargants are struggling a little bit is because of the multi-objectives that we've got. Because objectives have become smaller in Age of Sigmar 4, then the designers, when they've written the missions, have been able to put more objectives on the board. Seeing as normally you're running 4 Mega Gargants, you can only be in 4 places at once. And that control score of 20 is very effective, but it's not necessarily always brilliant. So this is going to be the only conversation I'm going to need to have about the control score, but there you go. Control score is kind of their win condition, and ultimately survivability is their other win condition. So 35 health with a 4-up save isn't too bad. For output, the Beast Smasher Mega Gargant is okay, but genuinely, if you look at that, his Menhir Club is truly really bad. And this could also be a little bit of an issue for Gargants, in that their output is so tragically low, especially if you compare it to the big hitters that currently, let me just go click this again. That's the Warstomper. Somewhere in here is my Beast Smasher. There we go. Oh, thank you. Got a control. I've got a scroll bar now. Anyway, thank you. The output, if you can see here, pretty tragic. Okay, output is pretty tragic. So they've all also got this battle damaged ability. If they take 15 or more damage, their control score goes down. So the army struggles because when you do hit their control score, when you do damage them, which you're going to do, they become less effective. And so this is a big weakness. And you got Longshanks being able to move over terrain. Okay, so these are all passives. You got, but this is the one I really like. Behemoth Brawler. Subtract 1 from the attacks characteristics of enemy monsters while they're in combat with this unit. This is a centerpiece addition. Lots of big monsters in the game. Pretty effective, reducing the number of attacks down, great. The other passive is you can't automatically destroy them, which keeps them alive against things like Archeon, not necessarily a thing. Now, a cool reason that you would take the Beast Smasher over the others is because of the Beast Breaking Strike. You pick an enemy monster in combat with this unit to be the target, and this unit can make a pile-in move, then roll a dice. On a 4+, you inflict 5d6 mortal damage. Now, as we've seen, the profile for the Beast Smasher Mega Gargant is so bad that you might as well do this every single time. And 5d6 mortal damage every time is really good, but it is stipulation based in that it's only a monster. It only being a monster means that I really struggle. Oh, let's just put Kragnos back up to where he was. Does mean I'm going to really struggle to give this guy a high rating, even though I love what he does. It's a really fun mechanic. His win condition is a little bit of a problem, survivability a little bit of a problem, and ultimately very little damage to be able to push. Speed isn't super fast either without Kragnos, so they're going to really struggle to do some of the battle tactics and things. So there we go. All right, let's move on. And let's talk about easily one of the coolest looking, the Gatebreaker Mega Gargant. So it's got that same survivability as Gargants do. 35 health, 4-up save, that control score of 20. Yes, if they get wounded, their control score is worse. Yes, they can't be auto-slain. They're able to pass over terrain. But the thing that really breaks the Gatebreaker apart, breaks them apart, is not the damage. The Almighty Stomp is worth about 1 damage point against a 3-up save. The Fort Crusher Flail is only worth about 8 damage against a 4-up save, so that's pretty rough for 500 points. The Pulverizing Strike ability is nice. That's a 4+, but that's only 4d6 mortal damage. However, what's nice is this is not keyword locked for only monsters, but does less damage. So you can have that still big 4d6 swing every combat phase. And he does have this really cool ability called Smashdown, where you pick a terrain feature within 3. If the target's faction terrain, you inflict D3 plus 3 mortal damage to it, then roll a D3 for each non-friendly monster unit within 3, or a 2+, they inflict that much mortal damage. And that is nice because you do have to put a lot of terrain on the, there's normally faction terrain, obviously Sylvaneth being a thing and being more popular. If you go and watch the stat show from Monday, you see that they're more popular. So this might be a nice counter meta pick against the rising Sylvaneth kind of horrors. They had their battle scroll update, they got a little bit more effective, so maybe a nice counter pick. But it is situational. Doing the additional mortal damage is on a 2-up, and it isn't that much mortal damage, and because he does no damage in combat and his Pulverizing Strike isn't very good, I think unfortunately he's just going to have to go into least effective, which I know is a little bit tragic as he's so cool looking, but hopefully we'll be able to pop this up we'll pop this up a little bit better like soon. All right, so let's go talk about, I think, everyone's favorite in-game mechanic, one of the most fun things people like to talk about when they talk about Gargants, and it's kicking objectives. So the Kraken-eater Mega Gargant, same survivability, 35 health, a 4-up save, only moves 10 inches, no run and charge, but control score 20, can't be auto-slain. Obviously, that gets reduced down. Their control score gets reduced down if they do get hurt. That's a bit of a problem. But they do have 2 special rules. Oh, let's quickly show you their damage profile so I can show you just how good they are in combat. So they're doing, with the Almighty Stomp, they're doing about 1 damage against a 3-up save. With the Shipwrecker Club, they're doing against a 4-up save about 5 damage. So they're comparable to about 10 skinks in output, the Kraken-eater Mega Gargant. So you're definitely going to want to avoid doing any combat with this unit, and instead you're going to want to try and like just stand there. For special abilities, they have once per turn in any combat phase, they have Stuff 'em in me net, where you pick an enemy unit in combat, you roll 3 dice for each roll that is at least double the target's health characteristic. 1 model in the target unit is slain. This is very similar to the Stardrake, and I don't know if you've been hearing me talk about the Stardrake. Stardrake's super cool, but Stardrake doesn't have to double the wounds characteristic. The Stardrake just has to beat or equal, so it can even eat 6 wound models, and it can do 3. So it's a worse ability. It's actually worse. It's double worse, the version of a Stardrake's ability. So it's not actually, unfortunately, that good, but it is kind of fun to put some guys in a, well, it's better than it's more likely to do damage than your actual melee weapon. So that's a decent thing. But one of the most exciting bits about the Kraken-eater is the get off my land ability you can do in your hero phase, only your hero phase, and it's only once per turn per army, so multiple Kraken-eaters can't do it, although I think that is something maybe that they should take off because that'll make it super fun. So, get off me land. You pick an objective with an inch to be the target. Then you roll a dice. On a 2+, you move the target 2d6 inches to a new position on the battlefield, more than 1 inch from all models. That objective is treated as if it were the same territories as it was when it was first set up on the battlefield for the purposes of the battle plan, which is pretty cool. A 2d6 move, kicking it around, genuinely a very, very fun thing to do. What's cool about this is you can kick it because you're going to want to kick it away from wherever you do combat, because you can't do any damage in combat. So this is kind of like it's like taking your ball and going home because you're like, you kick it away and then you say, I've got to go over there because if I fight you, I'll die. So you go somewhere else. And so that's a pretty fun ability, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be super effective in Age of Sigmar 4. 1 unit can't contest more than 1 objective at once. So you would have to kick it somewhere. Even if you kicked it near another objective, you won't be able to hold both at the same time. And then because of the lack of output, mobility, survivability, and other stuff, I'm afraid it's going to have to go in least effective. But, you know, we're getting towards the spiciest stuff right now. So we're going to talk about the Warstomper Mega Gargant, which is pretty fun. All right, so Warstomper, big scary name. And as we can see in combat, with the Titanic Boulder Club, he's able to do up to 2 damage against a 3-up save, with 3 damage against a 4-up save. Same survival issues and also like strengths as the previous unit. But control value 20, all those other bits. The bit that really separates out this model from the other models is obviously not the feet, because obviously it's the same body piece. And instead, so yeah, the thing that breaks it apart, we just were doing the math, sorry, we were running the math on a couple of the Gargants, and it did turn out that skinks or clan rats, as an example, almost always do double to 3 times as much damage as any of the Gargants. That's an interesting thing. All right, so anyway, let's go and look at the special abilities that you get for this particular Gargant. You've got 2. You've got the Hurled Body ability, where pick an enemy unit in combat, you roll dice. If the roll is at least double the target's health characteristic, 1 model in that unit is slain, and you can pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit. Inflicting an amount of more damage on the unit equals the target's health characteristic. So that's pretty fun. The ability to potentially do quite a lot of mortal damage at range, but unfortunately, you're tacking that onto not a lot of any other damage. So it's not really you're adding on, you're more making up for, which is kind of like disappointing. And then in Titanic Boulder Club is a passive where if all the attacks made with this target an enemy unit, for every 5 models in the target unit, you add 2 to the attacks characteristic. So against like a large brick of infantry, which isn't actually very common in Age of Sigmar at the moment, then you are going to be able to swing a lot of extra attacks. One of the big problems with swinging all those extra attacks is they do hit on 4s. So any minuses to hit are really going to be reduce down how effective this is. Yeah, I think in a fight between 20 Skinks and a Warstomper, unfortunately, the Warstomper is going to lose. But I do like the idea of, for the Warstomper of being able to like fight hordes and stuff. So I'm gonna put that up there into ineffective. I think that's going to be pretty good. All right, next up. Oh no, not the Man Crusher Gargant. We're going to do the Man Crusher Mob. Maybe we should do Brodd. Actually, let's do Brodd. Okay, so Brodd, the big guy. Right, your War Master. So Brodd has got more health than the other Gargants. Got 40 health, 4-up save, control value of 20. And if we take a look at his damage profile, you see that it's like pretty respectable for something half his points. He's got like 8 damage with the Obelisk of Torque Arena, and then only 1 damage with the others. 8 damage against a 3-up save, 10 damage against a 4-up save. So not necessarily the output of a king, but I mean, there we go. All right, so what is so good about Brodd? Why do I like Brodd so much? Well, Brodd's a level 1 priest. So Brodd's going to be able to do some prayers, which is cool. And you do have in your hero phase this Power of Behemoth prayer, right? Which is a 5 to cast. You pick one of the following effects, and if the enchanting roll was a 10+, you pick 2 instead. First effect, Shatter the Mountains, add 2 inches the move characteristic of friendly Sons of Behemoth units for the rest of the turn. A force multiplier, but it's not run and charge, it's just plus 2 inches, which is, you know. Might of the Earth, heal D3 to each friendly Sons of Behemoth unit, and this is that's on the board, which is pretty nice, but it's only going to be in your hero phase, so it's probably unlikely that that's going to be enough healing to keep the army like cohesive. And then pummel all to dust for the rest of the turn, add 1 to the rend characteristic of all of the special weapons that Gargants carry, but not their feet, which is nice because it might genuinely uptick their damage from like 2 or 3 to like 5 or 6 over a battle round, which is nice. So that's why you do those prayers, which is cool. He's also got this passive creepers. This unit cannot be picked to be the target of enemy rampages, which is great because many of the enemy rampages can be quite effective. But unfortunately, if those rampages don't work, they're still going to be able to hit you with their melee attacks. And I think that's going to be a problem. But in the Gargant list, like absolutely, being a priest as a force multiplier, he has to be up there. He has to be up there in kind of around this section, which does make me say, yeah, I'm probably going to have to put the Warstomper down here, truth be told, to be honest. And I mean, actually thinking about Brodd, he's more effective than these guys in the book, but he's not any good at all. So I'm probably going to put him, he's probably the best least effective unit. That's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. And then just to wrap this up, there are also Man Crushers, which we could just put down here as well because they're obviously in this book. So I think we've done it. I think that's a very fair and insightful look into the Mega Gargant roster. I think the thing that really struck me was just how useless they are in combat. For giant monsters with tree trunk maces and bits of a gate, which I think is interesting. How little difference there were between the Gargants as well. Like the rules writing, I think it probably took about 8 minutes to do that. But Kragnos being effective is good as an owner of a Krag bro, who I do love. He is obviously perfect in every way. Same way, as a slightly big fella, like 6'2", I am a dumb big guy, so I really respect dumb big guys. And so Kragnos really sings to me as a person. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, the whole army hits on force. That's also not that good. But I honestly want to know what you think of Mega Gargants. Let me know in the comments below. It's obviously important to get some fair insight into how these armies play. So if you are playing with them, let me know in the comments, so I can, make it so you can't comment again in the future. And then, thanks very much for watching my video. It's been a real delight. And I hope this has cheered your day up. Thanks for watching us, Wargamer. I'll see you soon. Bye.